I can answer the analytics question. How's that? Do I start with that? Yeah. The analytics is a big word, of course. What it means is you got the Corsi, the Fenway, and all that, and we've got ours, and when we put all together, concerning Derek, if you have the scoring chances for, scoring chances against when he's on the ice, who he's playing against in terms of the caliber of the player, in terms of first line, second line, with the first on puck and being able to shut down the opponent and vice versa, counterattack. Derek is the span between the positive and negatives is the biggest one for all our forwards, and that's where his value is. It's not just, okay, he scored or didn't score. He gave us momentum because he got more scoring chances and got less against because he's able to play against the better players, but also give us the offense. If you look at this year, he's played with Stone, he's played with other players, and like right now, their line is doing great with Stallberg and Burrows. They've been a key line in the last 5-6 games. And Derek's been as reliable as he's given us scoring chances. And so it's like he's plus 90-something in terms of the difference between the positives and the negatives. With the positives that we add together, but also if you looked at the course, I didn't look at it in the last month, but before this last month, he was number one on our team also. So, there's the final goals and assists that everybody looks at, and the plus and minus, but there's a lot more that comes into play when you look at the what a player gives you. We're talking about Pyatt, for instance, in terms of scoring chances against the top lines, he's the best. So nobody will know that because that's not your job, is to look at every possible little thing that every player does, which is normal, but it is ours, and that's where our evaluation changes from player to player because of the information that we've got. Sometimes there's also the coach's feeling he likes a player more than another because of X and Y, but when you've got all the information by the end, over a long span of time, you know where the players lie. And sometimes I've had players that I love, and after getting all the information, I realize, well, I shouldn't love them that much, and vice versa. And so, just to answer the question about Derek, that's where his value is. And yeah, you know what, he could have produced more with that kind of positive turnout in terms of the analytics, for sure. And he's the first one that will tell you, when I missed too many goals. And but in the end, he's exactly what we wanted there. We needed a lefty center with experience that right away, wouldn't freeze under pressure, would know what to do against the top players, has been in the Stanley Cup Finals, has got the speed, and we wanted straight away. Guys that could give us momentum because we got some other guys that got skill that might be a little slower, so we needed to accelerate the pace of the forward, so he was definitely part of that.
Can you give us some idea of who your 12 forwards are?
I can't give you that. I know Stone will be in the top 12. How's that? Here's why. The reality is that we have not had 1 minute to sit down this morning to talk about hockey yet. So it's all been about schedule preparation with the staff. We met as a staff downstairs. Pierre met with us. Now we're doing the media. Now we're going to go listen to the league in a few minutes to see what they want for the playoffs. And then after that, I'm going to sit down for the first time with our staff and talk about Boston and our roster. So,
do you think it'll be a really tough choice, or do you have a pretty good idea of where you're going?
It's going to be a tough choice, and I'm really happy. That's finally get to that part where I'm going to make a decision this year. You need that. I've been in the playoffs, and the players, they fall like flies. And you need the depth. You need the quality depth. Depth is one thing, but quality depth is another. And we feel that we've got quality depth now, especially after we've seen Claesson have to play all these games and all these minutes. And you look at Harper and Yoki-Paka. Now we feel really confident. We're confident with the goaltender tandem. We're confident with all our defensemen. Now I look at the number of players that are healthy and available with the forwards. I mean, that's what you want. Yeah, like people say, it's going to be a happy problem. There's the word problem in there, but I look at the word happy. I'm pretty happy. I'm going to get a choice, and from game to game, it's going to be a different decision. The team you're playing against, how well we've done, where we see the weaknesses are, and if you play a team that's bigger, you might need that certain guy. If you need a team that's faster, you need that certain guy. You might want to start with experience because it's the first game of the playoffs, and you know that some guys will freeze, some guys will have a tendency to be a little nervous. Some other guys are going to be right into their element because they've lived it before, and that's where all these trades that were made, including Boucher last summer, they're all trades that were geared towards accelerating the leadership and the intangibles on the team, because that's where the success is, and the proof is in the pudding here. And that's why we are in the playoffs right now, is that through tough times, it wasn't just about having bodies, it was having the right bodies that were going to help the guys. And I remember the first game in Boston, everybody knew, and I think probably it's the first game of the year where you really felt the pressure. This is the big game. And we've had some guys where it was tougher for them to manage because they're first year in the NHL and so on. And we had guys like Stallberg who were you just feel he's right in his element and wanted more ice time. And I put him on the top two lines, and we won the game. It's just one example. You got a guy like Burrows. We go into Detroit, and we know we got to get at least 1 point there. And then they score the first goal, and he's the guy that comes up with the big goal. Like, Wayne Goals is the same. He's terrific on the bench. Like, there's no panic to his game. He goes out there, pays the price. So these guys that Pierre was able to get are not just good players. They bring stuff that you can't buy. Like, I've been to the 7th game of conference final, and I know what it takes to get there. If I didn't live it at the NHL level, it doesn't matter if I've won before in other leagues. This is so specific. If you've never lived it, you don't know what it is. And those guys have lived it, and I'm lucky enough to have lived it also. So right now I'm looking at things and I'm going, okay, I don't want this because I know where that goes. I need this. I was lacking this. I made a mistake there last time. I'm going to do better this time. And the players are the same. They got the tools to manage it, and that's where we are, because with the injuries that we've gotten and the tough stretch at the end, we needed experience, and we needed guys that knew how to manage that pressure.
Bruins have injuries now. Do you see them as a wounded animal?
Who's that, sorry?
The Bruins, they have injuries that they're now going into the playoffs. Do you see them as a wounded animal?
My God, that's the last thing I see now. I mean, this is going to be, every game has been so tough to play against them. 1-goal games. We won by the skin of our teeth, and that's exactly what every series is going to be like, no matter if you finish first or just made the playoffs. All the teams are almost equal, and it's going to depend on injury here and a little luck here, and it's going to, goalies staying on our heads. It's the same every year, and now more than ever, get in. And I've been saying it since the beginning. Just get in against whoever, whenever, however, but just get in, and everybody's got a chance. And
You talked about players' experience and having gone to the playoffs, but what did you learn from your past playoff experience?
Well, I know rest is a weapon. I know that managing your schedule as you move along, and sometimes not leaving after the game, and staying and leaving the next day, making sure that your practices are later, the day after the game, little things that make a gigantic difference, because the guys are all worn out by now. We're getting into playoffs with both teams. Their guys are tired. They've lived through an 82-game schedule, which they all said it was probably the toughest year in terms of the schedule and the lack of rest and all that. So everybody's on the same ground, and we want to make sure that we manage the small things well, and the fact that we've got a lot of guys there ready to play, it makes a big difference for us. That means that not only do I have to make choices, but sometimes I might be able to rest a guy that's either older or a guy that has less of an easy speed, and then he'll be fresh the next game and so on. So I think those are the small details that make a difference. I'm expecting, and our players are going to expect the same. I'm expecting 7-game, second or third overtime period. I'm expecting every time, and it doesn't matter who you play. You got to be ready for that. Anything under that is a bonus.